Hey guys, my name is Rochelle Mosley and I'll be going over the AP Calculus AB summer homework. Yay for calculus. Miss Favalora, the teacher, already had Zoom meetings prior to me making this video, which she really went over the homework and stuff. So I don't know how insightful this could be in case you already attended the Zoom meetings. Oh no, I did. They were helpful, of course. She's a good teacher. So let's get into it. All we had to do was this packet. I printed it out. That's all we had to do because we'll have a test on it in the first 2 weeks of school, I believe. So yeah. It touched on a bunch of concepts that we learned in pre-calculus, and it was just like refuting the concepts. And then we also had a section with like the graphing calculator. And so that part was easy, and then graphing. So I'll kind of just go through it, kind of what I did. So the first page was easy. It was this, you just match it to the graph. So it's pretty simple. And then the bottom, you just find the intercepts, and to find the x-intercept, you just have to put y to 0, and to find the y-intercept, you have to put x to 0. So just do that for everything, even if you got stuck. I know I got stuck on number 8. Because it was kind of difficult, but once I put the other variable like x or y to 0, I was able to find the other one much easier. And that's what Miss Favalora said, so I just followed along. And yeah, that's important to know how to find it algebraically without using the graphing calculator. Most of the stuff you do need to know without using the graphing calculator. And then the points of intersection, pretty much the same thing. I use the elimination method, and I use substitution, and on 16 I use a graph calculator, but so did Miss Fav, so yeah. And then the bottom part, you just guesstimate the slopes, so that was pretty easy. And then the next part, it's more just graphing, finding the slope, y-intercept. It wasn't anything too rigorous, so yeah, just keep on going through it. And then for the next page, it's just evaluating the function at the given values of the independent variable. And that was the top part, at least. It was just like plug in like type thing, as you see, like you just plug it in, find the answer for whatever they want you to find the value of. So yeah. And then 44 and 45 were a little harder. So you don't have to, I plugged in both of them because I didn't know. But then after the Zoom meeting, she told us that you only have to apply it to the one that like fits the criteria. So like, for example, it just depends on what the sign is, like the greater than, less than, whatever that sign is, then you just go off of that. So yeah, that was pretty simple and easy once it was explained, and I hope I just explained it well. And then 46 through 53 was all just graphing. And my graphs, I think they're really pretty. But yeah. And if you don't know what the graph looks like, then just plug in the points. I typically use the points -1, 0, and 1, just because most graphs have them. Unless it's like something else, then you kind of can catch on to the pattern and use different numbers for your x value, but those are the ones that I usually use. And then the next page, it was just the composite, I believe they're called composite functions, don't quote me on that. But yeah, you just like plug it into what it's supposed to be and simplify. You didn't have to solve, just simplify. Then 55 through 58, you just do the same thing and then find the domain. And for the domain, you find what you plugged in, not what was given. So like for 55, f of x equaled x squared and g of x equals root x. So for like f of g, you would find the domain of square root x, because that's the one you're plugging in. So yeah, and Miss Fab also went over that. So yeah, and then you just say, are they equal or not? You just like fully simplify the composite functions down, and you'll find out if they're equal or not. And then trig, everybody loves trig, trigonometry. This actually, I had to redo this page because I did it first and I did it completely wrong. I had to redo this page, so it kind of took a while, but it's like yesterday actually. But yeah, for the table, you just fill it out, use special triangles, your 30, 60, 90, and your 45, 90 triangles. And yeah, I basically drew a unit square, did all the points, and so it was easier to track because remember, your reference angle is always from the x-axis, and I was doing it wrong, so yeah. Remember, you have to rationalize all these numbers so there's no root in the denominator, because that doesn't work. But that's simple. You just times the ratio you got by the square root, like the denominator, that root, and then you'll get the answer. And the denominator for these, at least, is the number just without the square root, and then the numerator will now have a square root. So yeah, and Miss Fab said that for trig, you need to know how to do this. You can't use a graphing calculator. Yes, that's what I was trying to say. And yeah, and then for 60, 61, and 62, basically 60. So I watched the video on this, but I still didn't really understand it that much. So basically, you just use the chart for reference. Use the chart up here for reference. So you got to make sure that these values are right in order to do these, at least these two. This one, you don't really need it, but yeah. So like, for example, inverse goes to the -1 over root 2. I got it equal 3 pi over 4. And how I did that, you want to find what the angle would be. So I like kind of moved it around some. So I did cos to -1 blank, like x equals -1 over root 2. And then I used the chart. I went to cos, which cos had the -1 over root 2 for the answers. And I saw that it was 3 pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. But how these inverse functions work, it has to be between a certain range of numbers. And so 5 pi over 4 wouldn't work because it isn't in that range of degrees. And I believe for cos that it has to be in the first or second quadrant, so 0 to 180. So 3 pi over 4 was in that 0 to 180. It's in quadrant 2. 5 pi over 4 wasn't, so that one wouldn't work. And so you do that. I do that for all of them. I believe I got them right. Really hope so. But I also checked with Miss Fab's work because I took pictures of the answers going through it. So they did match up, which was good. And then 61, you basically do the same thing, but you have to find out what that angle is first, like what you're looking at first, and then solve for the one outside of it. PEMDAS, parentheses first, always parentheses first. And then just the 6 functions for the given angle. That was easy, just set it up in the triangle, and then find those. That was pretty basic. And then finally for the graphs, I just graphed all of them, graph the parent function, then graph all the other ones in different colors. And I tried to use points. I tried to be precise. And then I just checked it with the graphing calculator to make sure it lined up. So yeah. And then the rest of the practice, you just use the graphing calculator. I would just insert it into my calculator and then trace the graph, and then you'll find the roots or the intercepts. So yeah, that's all I have for calculus. This is gonna be a fun class. I wish everybody the best of luck, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and subscribe. Bye guys.